The non-avian dinosaurs were one of the most infamous and successful groups of animals to ever live, being responsible for the largest terrestrial carnivores and herbivores of all time. And while size does go a long way in nature, they were also extremely diverse in their tools and weapons, all of which helped them to establish one of the longest reigns known to paleontology, lasting for over 150 million years, and leading some to dedicate an entire geological era towards them as the Mesozoic, which covers the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous, is often nicknamed the Age of Dinosaurs. And yet there was actually a time during this era, specifically the Triassic, when the Earth was actually not ruled by dinosaurs for a portion of it. They hadn't yet devolved. And then even once they did, they had to endure millions of years of living in the shadows of another, just as the mammals had to under them, as it was during the Triassic that a notorious group of predators emerged who pushed the limits on ferocity, and are the only animals known to have dominated the non-avian dinosaurs in every environment that they shared. These were the Ryans. Ironically, they happen to belong to the exact same taxonomic clade that dinosaurs fall under, the Arasaur. But instead of being a part of the division that includes birds and their extinct relatives, they instead belong to the pseudoscians, which include crocodilians and their extinct relatives. It is believed that Ryans first emerged some 249 million years back during their early Triassic, and curling consists of 39 different from genera who were defined as triotic pseudosuchians, who were usually extremely large, predatorial, and quadrupedal, though many exceptions to these rules exist. And today the group is often described as being informal, meaning it's paraphyletic rather than a well-defined group. But what is well-defined is that these creatures were pretty crazy, because out of every land predator to ever emerge, it was them who came closest in size to rivaling the immense statures seen in giant theropods, with most of them having fallen between 4 to 6 m or 13 to 20 ft, in length comparable to the size of giant crocodiles. And many got even larger than this, with some like the Postosuchus, arguably the most famous of the bunch, breaking 7 m or 23 ft, and rendering it the largest predator within its environment. And somehow even it was outsized by certain relatives, such as the Sarcus and Prascus, who could both reach 7.5 m or 25 ft, which already makes them bigger than all terrestrial mammal carnivores alive or extinct. And thanks to these sizes, Ryans were almost always the largest threats you could find in a Triassic setting, and were well beyond the size of any known Triassic predatory dinosaur. And in a few places, they happened to be the biggest MIPA period, a trend especially common towards the early Triassic, when large herbivores were more rare, a courtesy of the giant extinction event that had taken place just prior. Funnily enough, though, it was only when Ryans lost the title of being the largest animals in their environment that the biggest member came to be, who also happens to retain the title of the largest non-dinosaur predator to ever walk the earth. And this was the Fucus. This behemoth of Archean hailed from northwestern Argentina, where during the Noran stage it terrorized the lands with its monstrous size. Even the smaller specimens belonging to this genus were thought to have been larger than every other Risuian-1, while the larger individuals were on a whole other level, as they possibly grew to be 3.1 tons and 10 m or 33 ft long, so literally bigger than some of the most famous theropods known, like Gorgosaurus, Majungasaurus, and Carnotaurus. Just to name a few, I should also mention that, with these stats, the Phassuchus was not only far bigger than any terrestrial predator conjured up by mammals, and really every other terrestrial carnivore to arise in general after the extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs, with the largest post-dinosaur predator being the Binsuchus, which was only a bit over half the weight of Fucus. So you can bet that, with this size, everything in its environment bowed down to it, including a variety of dinosaurs like the Coloradorura and Zeuposaurus. And by this point, dinosaurs had already been on the scene for roughly 13 million years. And while they weren't the rulers yet, they had undergone impressive diversification, which included the evolution of sods, who perhaps unsurprisingly became prey for the Phassuchus. Namely, it is believed that Saurus, one of the most basal sods, was one of the main food items for Fiscus, and might have been a partial reason behind its immense size, since it was also quite the behemoth with individuals weighing 7 tons. And as we know, big prey usually means seriously big predators.